All right, man, we out here in Pram, and so we're making our rounds here. We got something big coming up tomorrow where we're going to be connecting with a whole lot of people from the African diaspora from America. But I wanted to get your take on something because it's something that Kenya from the Schaefers mentioned in her interview. And if you haven't checked that interview out, it's either you have a chance to check it out this coming week. But I wanted to I think you're the first person I've talked to, first Ghanaian.
Yes.
I've talked to about this in this setting. And for many people who come from the West, they are shocked when they see the amount of images of this white Jesus image.
Yes.
And it throws a lot of people off because it's the last thing they're expecting when they come to countries in Africa that have so many brown people, but yet you see this false white deity that's everywhere. It's on the cars, it's statues on the side of the road. You have the black preachers, the African preachers that have this image right beside them on the billboards, that you have it in their churches, you have it shrink wrapped on buses.
Offices.
Everywhere you go, you see this image, and so it surprises a lot of people. And for a lot of people, it's discouraging because in America they've had it, and they've had episodes of TV shows that addressed it, like Good Times with Florida Evans. I know that was long before your time.
The only Jesus I know is him, and the one.
Florida addressed it with Michael. Phil Donahue had episodes about it.
Please don't miss the point. It's not enough to say, hey, we're all God's children. If you continue to present Jesus this way before little African-American children or people of color all over the world, they grow up somehow believing that way down inside, white is better.
Megyn Kelly talked about it on her news program.
All right, but let's go back to Megyn Kelly because she's going to insist that not only is Santa white, another figure is white. Let's watch.
Just because it makes you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean it has to change. Jesus was a white man too, but it's like, yes. But my point is, how do you just revise it, in the middle of the legacy of the story and change Santa from white to black?
Yeah, I mean, you can't. You can't take facts and then try to change them to fit some sort of a political agenda or a sensitivity agenda.
You can't change the color of Jesus or Santa to fit your agenda, said Fox News.
And don't you black people ever forget one thing. The man that helped Jesus carry that cross was a black man. And don't ever forget another thing. Jesus belongs to Africa as much as he does to Europe and Asia. He was born in that part of the world that touches Africa and Asia and Europe, and Jesus was not a white man like me, nor was he as black as some of you. We don't know what the color of his skin, but it must have been a dark color like the people of his day, because he was a man like them.
But what we did not expect is when we came to Africa to see that image, and I've seen it in Ghana, I've seen it in Egypt, I've seen it in Cote d'Ivoire, I've seen it in Nigeria. I think they got a big statue in Nigeria to this dude. I've seen it in Kenya, I've seen it in Tanzania. I have not seen it so much in South Africa, but I'm sure it's all over the world. I've seen it in Brazil, so I'm sure it's in South Africa. It's still in America, it is, but it's not like what we see or have seen here. So tell me, what's the deal with this fake white Jesus image that's running rampant through the continent of Africa?
Okay, all right. It is not surprising when you come to Africa like Ghana here, you see this white Jesus everywhere. In car offices, like you were saying, you can see it from our president office. You see the white Jesus over there. Because it started away from our generation. When we were growing up, you see our mothers, our parents with these posters all over in our house. When you go to churches, at the back of the church, where the pastor sits and where the elders are sitting, you see those posters are there, and they have their mentality. They have told us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This Felicia hooking us up.
Yes.
Thank you, Felicia.
Efua.
It's Efia, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we saw it everywhere. There you go.
Yes, it's everywhere. Everywhere in the churches, everywhere. You know, like I was saying earlier on, it's not surprising because, you know, a lot of people, when we were growing up, that's what we have been teaching us. So we have been taught about it. That, oh, this is the God, this is Jesus, this is Jesus. But when you were, I don't know how to put it, but the moment you are growing up, we are growing up from a system where our parents, our elders, even believe that poster or that white Jesus is the Jesus that we read in the Bible.
When I saw this footage, I just shook my head. I say, oh man, come on, brothers, come on, sisters. You up there with white Jesus, and your pastor inviting this guy to act like he white Jesus, but like I said, just don't take my word for it. Roll the clip.
Na tunasema mji wetu lazima ukombolewe. Ni tangazo tulio ni hili ya kwamba Yesu anaingia kiseriani na yote
Oh Lord. Come on, y'all. Come on. It's that was some sad footage to see.
Well, but do people really read the Bible then? Because if they read the Bible, they would know that image is not right.
Yes, we do read the Bible. So we believe, our parents believe, the Jesus that we are talking about is that image over there. So even in most churches in Ghana here, they will give you that poster. You go and place it in your room, and you can even pray about it. You can even talk about it. Yes, it happens here in Ghana here. It happens, yes. So this is why Jesus is a whole lot of things. We are coming from a system that our forefathers believe in this thing. So for us not to keep on saying this, why Jesus, it is a lot of education, like I was saying earlier on. A lot of education. Because, you know, we've grown up from a system where we have been taught this is the Jesus we are talking about. You open your Bible, Genesis chapter 3, verse, and God said, this is it. So the moment you start reading the Bible, they will show you that this is the Jesus we are talking about. And I think every Christmas, they will be showing us Jesus movies. So that guy who is inside the movie, I think that he's the person whose picture is out. That we Africans believe that he is the Jesus.
Well, I remember right around the last Resurrection Sunday.
Yes.
There was a video that went viral, and it was a lady in a church setting and some other people, and they had this fake white Jesus laying down, and they were crying over it, and oh Jesus, Jesus, and oh Jesus, and they were rubbing it and everything. And you know, I've seen it so much when I was in Kenya. It was a factory of sorts where the people were making beads or something. You know, they're artisans, but their workstation, everywhere around that room, they had this fake white Jesus image up everywhere. Like it was almost like the image was looking over them,
okay, to
watch them or something like that. But you know, this image, and this is in Kenya. Kenya is just as brown as Ghana, you know. So you talked about the education, and you talked about the forefathers. Now, understanding 40, 50 years ago in America, and even to this day, because there's some churches to this day in Washington, D.C. that have the fake white Jesus image in the stained glass. There are churches in America right now that still have the fans with that same image. So this is not America is advanced or Black America, nothing like that. It's just that for many of us, we have just read the Bible, and the Bible, that image is not, we know where it's made up from. It's a false image. And so when people are following something and they're saying it's Christian, but it's really not, that image is not Christ. That image is not Christian. That image is really, when you look at it, it could be perceived as demonic because of the power that it has over so many people. So to my point about in Kenya, you know, the people are sitting there and this image is around them. They're going to churches and the brown pastor says, this is the white God. What effect, if any?
You know, like I was saying earlier on, you know, they have been taught about it. This is the white Jesus. So whenever they are reading the Bible, whenever their pastor, their elder are reading the Bible, the moment they start reading the Bible, then they refer them to the picture. This is the Jesus that we are talking about. This is what he do, this and that. So they have come to realize that, oh yes, this is the Jesus that they are talking about. So they believe that that picture over there is the white Jesus. So they have believed, their spirit, everything believe that that picture is the white Jesus. So for them not to believe, or for you to go and tell them, oh, this is just a white Jesus, this is just a white man who is pretending to be a Jesus or something, so you don't have to believe. Because when you read the Bible, the Jesus that you're talking about is not the Jesus that you see over there. So why is that you are brown, but you are saying that Jesus, what makes you think Jesus is white man? What makes you think that you believe that God is the white man, that over there? So in some ways, it has affected them all their life, because where they are coming from, that's where they were taught. Mm-hmm. So they already have that in their mind, that this is the white Jesus. So whether do or die, this is the Jesus that we are talking about. So whether if the pastor read the Bible, if they read the Bible, the moment they start reading the Bible, then their mind, and they refer to the picture that the pastor showed to them. So I think,
do all of the pastors believe this? I mean, is this everywhere? I mean,
no, because in Ghana here, there is a lot of pastors who don't believe in those pictures. You go to a lot of churches in Ghana here, you won't see those pictures, neither in their on their billboard, their office, their church. You won't see.
Well, let me ask you this: do they teach the people that image is false? Do they show them that, one, you can't find that image in the Bible? Do they teach them where it comes from? Says it Begorgia. Do they and how the Imperial Catholic Church, Protestant Church created this image and just forced it on people?
Honestly speaking, those who don't believe in the picture, I don't think they preach about it, where it comes from. But to them, they believe, and most of them, and they believe that this is not the Jesus that we are talking about. These are from the white people. They do this, they do that. So there's no need for me to put this. Most of them, I know one pastor, I even forgot his name. I should have mentioned his name. He don't believe in those pictures. So when he is preaching, he tells us that people were asking, why that don't you put a Jesus picture? And he says that this is not the Jesus that we're talking about. This from somewhere. So the movies and the play that you see on the television during the resurrection of Christ and stuff, is the white who created all those things. So to me, myself, I don't believe it. So I don't think they normally teach where it is coming from, but they believe that they don't think this is the Jesus that they are talking about.
So if people are following something that's not real, that's made up, because this is the thing that I realized when I came over, and I talk a lot about this in my videos, and it grieves me. And the reason why it grieves me is because, again, I see the same thing in America. But we put something, we'll say, put a title on something and call it Christian. But you won't even find it in the Christian Bible. You won't even find the practice. You won't find the image. You won't find it there. But it's like people will hold on to that image more so than what the actual scriptures are saying. And then the other thing I see, and wherever I am in America, Africa, South America, wherever people embrace that image and that thinking and that doctrine, poverty is right next to it. Everywhere I've been, when they embrace that particular, even if the image isn't there, but they've embraced the mindset.
The mindset, yeah.
Poverty is right there beside it. And so, you know, for me, I'm sitting here, I wanted to get your perspective because you talked about the education system. Let's talk about that for a second, and we'll circle back to this whole white Jesus thing. Now, when it comes to the education, how white is the education that's being imposed on brown Africa?
Especially in Ghana here, all our textbooks, they have designed the textbooks like in the Western education, how they taught them. So we have thrown our culture away. We have thrown everything about Africa away. So we are learning about their culture. So everything is about the white, everything is about the white in our education system. So instead of us to use our own culture and practice just to teach our kids, we are now, all the textbooks that we have in Ghana here, everything that they've written inside is from the white people. So our education system is very poor. Whatever we go to school, we just go there just to learn about the white people.
Now, somebody's going to push back. I know in the comments, someone's going to say, no, the school I went to, they taught us all of these things about our local ethnic group, our traditions, and all of that. So is it all of the traditions completely erased, or are there some places that might have, some have held on to some of the traditional, or is that something they do at home and away from school?
Yeah, honestly, we have the tradition part in Ghana, in our education system too. Like we have, when you go to the primary school, we have the religious and moral education. That religious talk about the Christian, the Muslims, and stuff. But the big deal is that whenever you are growing up, when you go to school, we have a lot of culture in our schools, but we do not practice that culture. We do not. And some of the schools do, but most of the schools don't. We have some schools that when you go there and when you speak Chi, like in our Ghanaian language, they are going to be.
That's
Chi.
One of the Ghanaian languages.
Yes.
One. Okay, there we go.
Yes. So the moment you start speaking Chi, they are going to say, hey, why are you speaking Chi? They will call you to the staff, and you are going to be beaten, or they are going to give you something to do,
okay, hold
like
tight.
A punishment.
Okay, hold tight. So they will beat you.
Yes.
If you speak your indigenous language.
Yes, exactly. In Ghana here, in our schools.
So will it be African teachers who will do that to you? Ghanaian teachers?
Yes, Ghanaian teachers. They do that.
That look like you?
Yes.
They will come and they will chastise you.
Let me tell you.
Break it on down.
Let's go to, I think there's no schools nearby. If you go to the government schools, the private schools, they've written over there, speak English.
Really?
Yes, it's on the wall. Speak English. So they are forcing the case. They are forcing us to speak the language that we are not born with. They are forcing us to learn something that someone is, that is not our culture, but they are forcing us to do it. In Ghana here, let's just say I'm your son, and I say, oh, Daddy, this is what I want to do in the near future. I have passion. I love the craft. I love this one that I want to do. In Ghana here, your mom will tell you have to be a doctor. Whether you like it or not, you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, nurse. Your parents want you to be a big boss, like someone that my daughter is a lawyer, my daughter is a banker, my daughter is a financier, my daughter is this. But me, what the child over there don't even like what you are forcing him or her to do. That's what is happening in Ghana here.
Well, they do that in America too. I had a friend of mine, my age,
yes,
who said that her parents basically forced her to become a lawyer. She didn't want to become a lawyer. She had no interest in it. But it sounds like what has happened is that white supremacy, European supremacy, has crept into our minds to where we put it as the high standard and say that this is the only way you can succeed, doctor, lawyer, engineer, even though those are honorable professions, but then they will look at something else and say that's not honorable. The plumber's not honorable. The electrician is not honorable. That's what we deal with in America, or have dealt with. Now people are coming around because they're like, wait a minute, you know, people are figuring out other ways to make money. But it sounds like that same culture problem, that the imposed culture problem that we have dealt with as a result, collectively, as a result of European and white supremacy, has crept into the educational system,
Yes.
has crept into the religious system, has crept into the culture. And now what it does is that it takes away, it causes people confusion. Because that's what I'm saying. If you can sit there and follow and look at a white Jesus and not even question it, that's a level of confusion. I go to get my pictures taken for my passport, and I go into the room, and they just have the white Jesus sitting right there, and I'm saying, well, yeah, I can't. You know, I try to have a relatively clean channel here, but I was thinking some words. I was like, well, what is this? You know, so, all right. So they're doing this in the educational system. They take away.
Yes.
They don't want you to speak your indigenous language, so they speak English. Speak English. I'm sure this happens in Francophone countries. Francophone countries are French-speaking countries. I'm sure they do the same thing on some level there. So people are now taught to put their indigenous second. Now, the good thing I see, though, is that when I come to every part of Africa, people speak multiple languages.
Yes.
Unlike for many Black Americans, as a standard, we don't speak multiple languages. They offer Spanish and French and some other languages as electives in school, but culturally, we're not required to learn other languages. We have different dialects within our own cultures, but outside of that, and you can consider some of those different languages too. Yes. You know, some of that Gullah Geechee coupled with some of that DC vernacular, it could definitely seem like a different language. But by and large, for many Black Americans, we're handicapped when it comes to communicating on the world stage because we don't know Spanish or French or Twi. You know, we don't even, they'll put Spanish or French up there. It won't even have any indigenous African languages. They'll label us as African American, but we don't even have an identity to our African languages. So it creates a level of confusion, I believe, you know, for a lot of people. Some people are fine with it. They're like, look, I don't want to know no other languages. I'm good with what I know. I'm barely struggling trying to learn English. But what do you think moving forward? Because what I'm realizing is that if people are always trying to assimilate and fit into someone else's culture, they're always going to struggle. They're always going to be seeking acceptance. That's the problem that we have in America. Many Black Americans always want to be validated by white people. Accept me into your club. Give me your Grammy. Give me your Oscar. You know, our awards aren't good enough, so we have to make it in your world. Let us be the first Black person to do this when you have Black people that have been doing it for ages. There's even debates about, you know, people debating, well, call me Black. Don't call me African. Call me African. Don't call me Black. Without even realizing both terms were given by white people. So both terms. So they're arguing over which term the white people gave me am I going to embrace. You know, now recognizing though that for many, for like Black Americans, we have our own culture. We have our own vibe. But we also have our subcultures within that broader Black American culture. So Miami, Dirty South, down New Orleans, that area, that's its own, Atlanta, that's its own culture. You come to DC, Washington, DC, Black Americans have their own culture. New York, Black Americans, and then you can even go within New York and find subcultures of Black Americans with different cultures. Chicago, Houston, you know, all of these different cultures within that. So, since we started talking about Ghana, what do you think needs to happen for Ghana to understand the effect of this fake white Jesus image, this white education system, this white culture, this like white is right, What do you think it would take for Ghana to I guess, make a turn with that? If a turn needs to be made.
If you want a turn to be made with this white Jesus and this white education system, then we need a lot of education, a lot to talk about this white Jesus and stuff. Because, you know, we call it white Jesus, we believe in that pictures over there, but yet no one is even telling us where this picture is coming from. Most of the preachers, the senior preachers and staffs, they are there and they know the truth. But instead of for them to preach and tell them, oh yes, we believe that Jesus Christ is there. We believe that we have a supreme being somewhere as we Christians. But those pictures that you are seeing, you know, is not the Jesus that we are talking about. So from hence on, I'm going to teach you where this is coming from. So it needs a lot of education, a lot of voice, a lot of people who can educate and tell us where this picture is coming from. Because it has been there for years, for centuries, right? Yes, it has been there for centuries. So it's not that easy for you to go and convince a Ghanaian on Africa to not believe this white Jesus, that picture over there. So it needs a lot of education for us to understand that this white Jesus that you're talking about, this picture you're talking about is coming from somewhere. It was imposed on us with those white people that we call them because they want to be superior than us. But we Africa, if we come together and understand certain things, we are more superior than the Europeans.
So how can someone say they're independent?
Come again?
How can someone say that they are independent? How can they say they're independent if everything they do mimics, imitates, emulates, copies, idolizes European standards? How can someone say that they're independent if their entire existence is dependent upon that system?
If someone wants to say the person, if you're independent, to me, how I understand is like you have to do everything on your own. You have to do everything on your own.
That's independence.
Yes, that's independent. You have, well, if you are saying I am an independent, then you are ready, because our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah,
yes,
after the independence, he said that Africa, we are on and we are capable of doing our own things. So the moment that he said that means that we Africa, we can depend on ourselves. We can do it, and we won't do. But right now we are depending so much on the Europeans. So they believe that without them we are nothing.
Now, when I was in Kenya, I did an interview with Brittany in Africa, and I talked about how the British never left. And I mean, there was a whole, it was a swarm of people talking about how the British left, they were gone, I didn't know what I was talking about, I was misguided. And everywhere I went in Kenya, I could see the British. I saw them in the museums, I saw them in their parliament houses. Everywhere I went, I saw this British influence. I see the same thing in Ghana. I see the same thing in South Africa. I see the same thing in Nigeria. I saw it in Egypt, where it shocked me. I did not expect to see it in Egypt because of the Arab Muslim influence, but I saw it in whether it was the British or the French. When I was in Cote d'Ivoire, I saw the French. When I was in Senegal, I saw the French. When I was in Togo, I saw the French. I saw it in their currency. I looked and I said, well, if someone is independent, how is it, and especially in the Francophone countries, how is it that they can still control their money and their currency? All right. Food looking good.
Yes.
Yes, looking good. Thank you.
So this is
Thank
my
you so much.
punching. Is that my punching? Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. So I looked at all of this and I said to myself, this is what I said to myself. I said, The only way people will be independent is when they can start acknowledging the truth. In America, it's no different. I look at the black cities. I look at the puppets that they put in position to run the black cities, to keep the black people in check. It's a whole different kind of vibe in America because many people in America are so arrogant with believing, that, man, we have overcome this thing and it's like we're overcoming it. It is an ongoing process. It is a marathon. And to your point, the education is what's bringing us out of it because we're able to now look at it and say, nah, you can't. You might have got me with that, say, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but you can't fool me with that again. So when it comes to Ghana, the independence, do many people believe that Ghana is truly independent from British rule or imperial rule or colonized rule?
No.
Really?
Yes.
All right, break it down for me.
All of us, we don't believe that we Ghanaians, we are independent.
Okay.
Because if you're independent, if Ghana, if we are independent, how come an English is going to be an official language in this country? English is our first official language in this country.
I don't know.
You don't know that? You can search it on Google. Official language in Ghana is English. And you believe way back we before the British the British were going, that our currency was pound. We were 18 pounds. Yes. Okay. Yeah, way back. Yes. Yes. And we changed it to the cities. So now we are having these cities here. And yes, our official language, when you go to Google, they will tell you the official language in Ghana is English. How come? As we Ghanaians, our official language to be English. Meaning these British are still here. They still control everything.
In America too.
In Ghana here. In Ghana here. They were talking about the LGBT, that lesbianism, the gayism, like I was saying the other time. And they want to pass, we have one MP who is doing very well, that they want to pass a law so that if we catch you in this act, this is the punishment that they are going to give it to you.
And that's what they're doing in Ghana?
Yes. They are here to pass that bill. And I heard on the news there, the British government, they say they want our MP to come to their parliament so that they will discuss about the bill.
Really?
Yes. I was like, how?
Really?
Yes. They are inviting our MPs to come to British parliament.
Hold that thought. Somebody fact check that to make sure, because that's very interesting.
Yes.
I think that what begins to happen is that when we have these types of conversations, it causes people to think. And that's all I want people to do is think. Because if we start to think, that's how change happens. Yes. For me, how change happened, I was raised in that American system, the religious system that told me this is what it is, don't question it, go with the flow. I was also raised in a Black American system that ironically, the black people would try to disconnect from Africa and didn't want anything to do with it, without understanding the similarities, without understanding that we're fighting the same battle on all coasts. And then some people say, well, we got too much to worry. We got to worry about our own battles here. Where to one extent, yeah, if you don't travel and you don't go anywhere and don't understand the global problem, then yeah, I guess that's the mindset you could have. But and this is what I hope, we're going to wrap this up because you see we're getting ready to start eating here and it's about to go down. About to go down. In your comments below, I mean, I know some people are going to probably say, well, they got a black Jesus up in the Vatican and all of that. That's not the image that's promoted all around the world. I often think about the scripture that talks about how Satan masquerade as an angel of light. And that is the only image, that fake white Jesus image is the only image that goes around the world that people follow.
Yes.
But has no power, has done everything in its ability to make people docile, to make them impotent as it pertains to their own indigenous culture, to change their identity, this whole conversion thing, the whole thing that I did about the Pope of the Catholic Church who apologized to the indigenous people in Canada for the terrorism that the Catholic Church imposed upon those people, which is just unreal. And he didn't offer any money or anything, and then they still gave him a crown to put on his head. These are more conversations we need to have, and I believe as we begin to have these conversations, we'll become better across the board on all of these quotes. So I encourage you as a young man to keep learning, to keep thinking, to don't be afraid to think, don't be afraid to be different, don't be afraid to speak, because that's your power. Your voice is your power. Do not let weak-willed people silence your voice. Do not let people who have yet to learn silence your voice. Because oftentimes people will be strong with a position today, and then when they get more information, they're strong. They shift the position entirely tomorrow. Question your leaders. They'll tell us, don't question the leaders, and then nothing ever changes. Ask, what's wrong with a question? What is wrong with a question? Explain to me, tell me what, help me.
Exactly.
Help me understand what's going on here. Anybody who doesn't want to answer a question has something to hide. If they're confident in what they're doing, there's nothing wrong with asking why you're building this massive Catholic cathedral in the heart of Accra, Ghana, when you need hospitals and businesses and schools, and people are struggling with jobs, but you're spending tens and tens of millions of dollars building this cathedral that's going to 9 times out of 10 have this fake white Jesus image at the centerpiece of it, to ask what the hell is going on. Somebody, because for real, because when you start thinking about it, what in hell is going on that this could be taking place and a whole group of people have no problem with it and don't ask the question. So always be willing to ask the question, and it's okay to walk alone. You might not be the most popular. You might not be the person that everybody's wanting to come speak, but you will be at peace within yourself.
Our parents go through and get married to our fathers and our mothers and stuff.
Okay, rewind it for me, because this is good. All right, so what you said is that the forefathers had the traditional weddings, but then when the white people came, they forced everybody to start doing it the white wedding way. Is that?
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like I was saying, in the olden days, our forefathers used to do the traditional wedding, and that traditional wedding has been there for years. But today, when you're getting married to a lady, you have to go and do the traditional wedding. So they called our traditional wedding, where our forefathers used to, they call it engagement.
Okay.
And now they call the white one wedding. So if you are getting married to a lady in Ghana here, and you say, okay, let me go and see your parents, and we'll be doing the necessary stuff, and your parents will accept you. Now the ladies don't want that thing. After doing that traditional wedding, they want you to do the white wedding too.
So you do the white wedding, and that's the Christian wedding.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Or Mormon or whatever it is. It's not the indigenous wedding. It's not the traditional normal wedding of the way the people of the land did it. And then they said, because a lot of people tell you, like, a lot of people say you're not married unless you do it in the church, in the Christian church, or whatever other religion it might be out here. So it sounds like the more and more I'm traveling, it sounds like more and more people are imposing their customs and their beliefs on people. And then once people believe it, then it becomes true to them. And so there's really nothing you can do other than, like you said yesterday, educate. And so we'll just keep educating. And that's deep, man. That's real deep.
Yeah.
All right. So now, so what you're saying is that for a lot of ladies, you said 90% of ladies don't believe that they're married if they do the traditional wedding, and they have to then go back and do the white wedding in order for them to feel that the wedding is valid.
Exactly. 90% of Ghanaian ladies, 90%, even let's say 95%, they don't believe that traditional marriage is the real marriage. They think after the traditional marriage, you have to go and do the white wedding. The wedding is so that they will believe that now they have gotten married.
So Any thoughts before we wrap up?
What I want to say is that I am encouraging all my fellow Ghanaians about this white Jesus and this white education system. We have to let our education minister, those stakeholders, the big man who has an influence in government, to let use our local languages in our schools. You know, when we were in school, let me say this because when we were in school, you know, the science teacher will be on the board and he will be teaching us, like, let's just say, organic matter. And we will be sitting there like this. Then he will realize, say, it's because of the English, so we are not getting it well. Then he will translate into our local language. By the time he translates to our local language, it's like everybody was sitting there, oh, ow. So is this so easy? And we were finding difficult. And he said, it's because of the English language that makes you think this is hard. So anytime when he's teaching, the moment he starts using the English word, then he will translate this to for you to get it and to get it in your mind. So you all like, oh wow. So anytime this teacher, the teacher I'm talking about, is not in class, you'll be calling him, sir, where are you? Where are you? Because anytime he tries to use our local language, even though he is teaching science, but anytime he tries to translate it in our local language, we do understand it more perfectly than using the English word.
Wow.
Yes.
If y'all don't see how powerful us having this conversation is, then I don't know. I don't know what else to say. This is how we bridge the gap. This is why it's important for you to visit and come see. We're sitting there having a meal, having a real conversation, and able to come up with some common sense solutions. Now, will that mean the masses want it? Who knows? But it has to begin somewhere. So we're looking at two different generations having this conversation. And I hope that you will start having these conversations within your own circle of influence. So anyway, thank you, man. We keep having these conversations. He's on my team. How about that?
Yes.
We rocking like that.
Yes.
So Mr. Forson is in the house.
Yes.
And I'm on his team, and that's how we do it. All right, so until next time, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, like button, and make sure you share Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. You know that song?
No.
Okay, all right. I'll give you some of that. You teach me some Afro beats, I'll teach you some old Montel Jordan.
Okay, all right. I will do that. I'm going to see you.
Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny.
The Adventures of Darren and Destiny. And Darren and Destiny are twin brother and sister. And you go on their adventures throughout the African diaspora, meaning so African diaspora destinations, primarily focused in Africa, but we go to South America, we're going to go to the Caribbean. Their first book is going to take you to Ghana. And then we're going to go on a safari. And from there, we're going to go to Ethiopia. And then we go to Salvador, Brazil. And what the goal is to be able to inspire curiosity in the continent of Africa, in our children from a very young age, and to really tell a more accurate story. Most of our children are exposed to negative images, late night infomercials about how bad things are, everybody's sick, everybody's poor, everyone's uneducated, but that's simply not true. So what Darren and Destiny and their family do is they go to different African destinations. They are learning about these different places. You're beginning to see positive images, but still telling the truth. I mean, that's the important thing, to tell the truth about some of the things that have occurred. But it's all done on a children's level so they begin to understand it. And it begins to pique their curiosity. They begin to learn more. And hopefully one day they will want to explore and visit the continent of Africa and its many countries. There's just so much that Darren and Destiny are able to do, and as they're doing it, it's like they begin to open the minds of a new generation. and they don't get bombarded and indoctrinated with negativity, they're actually able to see positivity and inspiring images and messages about the African diaspora, as well as those who are still indigenous to the continent of Africa, and they begin to learn more and just see things differently. So I'm excited about introducing the adventures of Darren and Destiny.